These Urban Times and Live Hip Hop Daily presents Sideline Stories. And as you can see, Cregg Armstrong has joined us at the desk. Cregg, I know it's the most wonderful time of the year for you because not only is NFL football in action, college football is in action as well. There were a lot of big games for a few teams right here in our backyard. We saw the Yellow Jackets go to Clemson. They didn't win, but they looked okay. We saw improvement. We saw improvement in what they can do. The Georgia Bulldogs, of course, took on Vanderbilt, and that was no matchup there. Georgia did what they were supposed to do, and in a surprising victory, we had our Georgia State Panthers go up to Tennessee and volunteer to kick some ass. So it was a great weekend. It was a great weekend for Georgia sports fans. But I want to know what did you think? Now we got to see Jalen Hurts in action as a member of the Oklahoma Sooners. Now, Lincoln Riley's been catching a lot of, I don't want to say flack, but it's a lot of criticism. It's a lot of rumors, speculation. Could he go to the NFL? Is he the next big offensive genius? We've seen Baker Mayfield win a Heisman under his tutelage. We've seen Kyler Murray win a Heisman under his tutelage. Both of those gentlemen were also selected with the first overall pick in their respective NFL drafts. Now, a quarterback who has a winning pedigree, of course, coming from a program in which you love down there in Alabama. Jalen looked amazing both rushing and passing the ball in Lincoln Riley's system. Now, Houston may not have been the foe or the opponent to really measure what he can do, but what did you think about the Sooners' performance and what Jalen Hurts brought to the table?
I think Jalen was special. You know, he was very efficient. Jalen was Jalen. He made the smart throws. He didn't really push anything. He still struggled with a little bit of inaccuracy throwing the ball down the field. But they put him in good situations where all you had to do was just timing routes, hit the slant, let your receiver do the work. You know what I mean? Jalen, we already knew he could run. You know, he could do that since day one at Alabama. That's how he won the starting job. But Jalen was Jalen. He was efficient. He just so happened to be in a spread out offense. And he's at Oklahoma. Lincoln Riley's gonna make you look good anyway. The Oklahoma's problem is we got to see if they can stop somebody. These past 3 seasons, they've had offenses that should have won the national championship.
But their defense
can't stop a cold.
Well, we'll talk about that portion as the season progresses, and we'll have some tape to see what the defense can really do. But what were some teams or some players who really stood out to you last weekend as the college football games were debuting that you think we should keep an eye on as we get, as the season grows?
Of course, Tua. Tua came out throwing for over 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. Another team that I actually thought I was gonna like, Oregon. I figured they would be a little bit more tough. They would be tougher against Auburn, but Auburn pulled it out. Bo Nix, the freshman quarterback from Auburn. I hate to say this, but he looks like he's a good player, man. He looks like he's gonna be a good player. Of course, Jalen. Nobody from Tennessee. Florida's defense looked like they were okay. I give them that. Trevor Lawrence, he came out and did what he was supposed to do. And statistically, he didn't have a great game, but he came out, made the throws that needed to be made to win that game.
Threw almost a pick six to put a hit on a cornerback.
Listen.
Looked like a DB out there.
Hey, people don't realize that man's 6'6". He's a big kid. So he's a big kid. He's athletic. We call them sneaky fast.
I can
sneaky athletic. But Trevor Lawrence, he's a lot of people say he's the best quarterback in the nation. I still can't see that.
Jury's still out on that one?
Jury's still out on that. He has a lot of tools around him, and I got to see him do it this year, see what he looks like this year, but we'll see.
Okay. Talking about Trevor Lawrence.
I was just saying, who is?
Best quarterback in the country? Tua.
That's what you said. Okay.
We shall see.
I see that.
Groovy Lou up in the
building. I ain't really watch y'all game like that. I'm waiting to see y'all play Texas, so...
Speaking of Brandon about LSU, we're going to talk a little bit about the NFL because I know that it's been a topic that's been floating around the African-American community, the sports community, and the entertainment community recently because Sean Carter, Jay-Z, decided to do a partnership with the NFL. And there was just a lot of hoopla, speculation about Jay-Z turning his back on black community. He should have reached out to Colin Kaepernick, blah, blah. None of the people who have been making these comments have had any affiliation to Jay-Z. They weren't in the room to talk to Jay-Z to find out what Jay-Z's plans are. None of the above. The jury is still out on what exactly the partnership how the partnership will take place between the NFL and Roc Nation. However, we do know just briefly that the NFL will try to help and put funds towards reform. We know the Roc Nation will have something to do with the Super Bowl that'll take place in Miami, Super Bowl Live, that'll take place in February down in Miami. What were your thoughts on not necessarily Jay-Z and the NFL's deal? Because I'll just say we can't really speak on it yet because we don't know what the hell it is. We got to see it in motion. Yeah. But what was your thought on the hoopla that came about surrounding it? In saying, like I said, we had limited details on information on exactly what exactly it is.
I think this day and age we're so quick to jump to a conclusion. We look at one little snippet of something, and you look at where it says that, like, the hoopla about Jay-Z saying not having a dad is why people get killed by police. Well, if you go back and listen to the whole thing, you go see the everything before that. He's saying that that's just one situation where a police officer is telling you, put your hands up, shut up, don't do this. And if you're a black kid in the hood and maybe you don't have your father at home, you're like, I don't got to listen to you. Like, who are you? Like, because you don't have that.
You weren't taught that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're like, I don't have to listen to you. He also spoke on, just policing areas where they're afraid of the people that live there. Like, how can you police an area you're afraid of the people who are, live in that habitat? I mean, you have a situation where black people, we're very expressive. We talk with our hands. We loud naturally. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you're somebody who doesn't understand that, you're thinking we're just being aggressive. But no, we're just expressing ourselves.
We communicate.
We're just communicating. We're trying to talk to you. Hey, brother. You know what I mean? Listen, hey, like, that's just what it is. We're brazen. But we are just that way. If you don't understand that, then you're going to see us as aggressive. But I think people are like, oh, you're trying to turn your back on Cap. I'm like, if you go back and listen, he spoke to Cap. Now, he didn't say what him and Cap, said. He didn't say if Cap supported or whatever. But he was like, Colin's doing his thing with his situation, and he's handling things his way. I'm going to do it this way. He's like, kneeling. The whole thing about kneeling was to bring awareness to police brutality. That was the whole point of it. Okay, we're aware now. So what are you going to do? You going to keep kneeling? Like, because that's like you telling, if I keep telling you something and you're like, okay, I know. And I'm like, I know, but I got to tell you this again. You can be like, all right, I don't even want to hear about it no more like that. So it's like, what are you going to do now? We got to do something. So I think Jay is like, let's go into action now. Let's partner with the NFL. Let's put some money into some resources that can help with employment, more jobs for African Americans. You want to get yourself in the room to control these things. Like, you can't ask the NFL to do something that behooves black people if they don't even have black people in the room to make the decision. I
think that's one thing that sometimes our demographic fails to realize. We want change, but you have to be in certain areas to make change. You can't want a cheesesteak and go to Olive Garden. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's not gonna happen there. Like, that's you gotta go to. You have to go to the room.
If you want soul food, you don't go to the place where it's a whole bunch of Asians back there. You be like, well, if I go to a soul food place and I see somebody grandma back there, I'm like, oh, this gonna be good. This gonna hit. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you ain't got nobody in the room, how you gonna say, well, you know what? I think they are trying to do what's best for it. How they know? They don't know. Like, they're seeing it through their point of view. You got to get somebody who sees it from our point of view.
Amen. It's going to be very interesting to see exactly what Jay-Z and the NFL do. We're going to be talking on that subject as the NFL season moves along and as we see what Jay-Z and Roc Nation do have in store. But if we kind of talk about Jay-Z and we talk about his wife Beyonce, she's from Houston, and it's been a lot of moves taking place in Houston with the Houston Texans.
I see you. That was
as of recently. It's been a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? H-Town is making a lot of noise,
it's
and
Beyonce's birthday, ain't it? Something like that.
I don't think Russell Wilson was looking to take Lil Future to the circus anytime soon. But there's a new Clowney in Seattle.
But he wrote these.
The Houston Texans made a big trade, sending Jadeveon Clowney to Seattle. He's now a member of the Seattle Seahawks. It was almost a heist. They got
third round pick
for pretty much nothing there.
Barkevius Mingo.
Is Clowney going to make a big impact in Seattle? Russell Wilson was ecstatic. He took to social media. Hey, you're on my team now. You won't be chasing me anymore. We've seen what Pete Carroll has done with defenses and defensive lines over the years. They do still have a few pieces over there. Bobby Wagner, different things. The Legion of Boom is no more, but there's still some defensive key players on that team.
You know what?
Is Clowney going to be one of them?
Listen, the Legion of Boom may be no more, but that defensive line is nasty. You got Ziggy Ansah from Detroit. You got Jaron Reed in the middle. Now you put Clowney on the outside. It's a dub. Like who you got to play? You got to play the Rams.
They got a running back.
They got a strong offense, but if you can get Jared Goff on his ass, then it's a wrap for that.
Cardinals.
The Cardinals, they already got offensive line problems. So Kyler Murray gonna be running like a kid in a schoolyard. 49ers. Jimmy Garoppolo already coming off an ACL tear. You try to get him already messed up. Jared McKinnon, he already hurt. So you got our boy Tevin Coleman and Breida as their backs. So I mean, if you're the Seahawks, you literally just put yourself in a situation where you, in some people's eyes, you could be the favorite of that division. Even though the Rams just went to the Super Bowl.
Well, I don't want to know what some people are thinking. In your eyes,
in my eyes,
are they the best team in the West now? And do they have what it takes to possibly compete with the likes of, we hear the Cowboys names, we hear the Saints name, we hear my Eagles names, you hear these teams that could possibly make the push for Miami in the Super Bowl. Has Seattle kind of put their name in that hat, in that basket?
Absolutely. You can't bet against Russell Wilson. He just makes stuff happen.
I agree there, wholeheartedly.
Like, I don't know if he just be praying real hard or what, but he makes stuff happen.
That boy good. That boy good.
Okay. I mean, they got some question marks at receiver a little bit. Tyler Lockett's going to be their kind of primary weapon there. You got to see if Chris Carson's going to, come into his own this year at running back. But if that defense can get after the quarterback, and it's not like they got scrubs in the secondary, they just don't have the all-pros anymore. If your defense can be top 10, yeah, definitely, you're in that conversation.
That'll be very interesting to see. And then finally, man, we're going to actually talk about a team in the NFC East that they're kind of bottom dwellers right now. They're the roaches or the shrimps of the division, but they're known to be giants. And I'm quite sure my man Ace would think so. Daniel Jones is out there in New York. Eli Manning isn't getting any younger. Now, some people have been making a hoopla out of his performance in the preseason. We don't take much about the damn preseason, but that is what it is.
I know somebody who does.
Should the Giants go ahead and just start Daniel Jones? They spent the number 6 pick on him. And once again, Eli's not getting any older. You have a young team. Should they just go ahead and see what the experiment and the project looks like now? Should they start that week 1 against the Dallas Cowboys?
No. I think you go out there, you roll Eli out there, see what you got. If it looks like how it looked last year, then you go ahead. Why even play around with it? Let Daniel Jones come in. He may be able to give you spark. If he doesn't, you're getting a head start to your future. Don't waste, your prime years of Saquon, you know what I mean? And just go out, just go ahead and let Daniel Jones have it. If Eli comes out here looking gun shy and everything like that, like he has over the past 3 or 4 years. So you give him a shot against Dallas, and you see if he could even be competitive. If not, yeah, go ahead and jumpstart your future.
How many weeks would you give Eli? Are you saying right after week 1, or are you giving it a quarter of the season, 4 weeks?
Honestly, you got to watch the film. So if you come out week 1 against Dallas, who is supposed to be the favorite in that division, but them and the Eagles, if he comes out and maybe you lose that game 31-20, you know what I mean? But Eli comes out and he makes some throws. Okay, you can build on that.
I dig it.
But if you come out and Eli throw 2 interceptions, loses a fumble without getting hit like he usually does, bad reads, yeah, it's time. Go ahead, get him a clipboard. Like, go ahead, get him a clipboard and tell him, go ahead, help Daniel. And get us ready for the future. That's it.
I think the hoopla on the young kid is I don't want to say it's unfortunate. I definitely think it's unwarranted as of yet.
I mean, you know how the New York
and
media
they putting that cat in a bad situation because you hype him up about what he's doing against cats who can be unfortunately bagging groceries in a few weeks, and you put him out there against a grown ass man like Von Miller, and he gonna let the boy know this ain't Duke. You know what I'm saying?
This ain't Duke.
This is not that.
So
it'll be very interesting to see. We still got a few more things to talk about because as we mentioned, NFL Week 1 is underway for the 2019 season, NFL 100. The Packers and Bears will be taken away momentarily, so we'll actually give our predictions on that game, and we'll give our predictions on a few other games that will take place during Week 1. And Nipsey Hussle and Puma actually have something that is launching today, or has launched rather today. Yep. So we'll talk about that. Take a brief break and be right back. Stay tuned.